All right, joined now by Hall of Famer Ty Law, and I want to start with that. It's been a year. How has your life changed now that you're a Hall of Famer?
Well, it changed in the sense where it's a big weight off my back. You know what I mean? And people been talking about it. I know I've been I've been in the room,
Yeah.
for a couple years, and got passed over the first 2 years, and they finally let me in. So it's like, a big sigh of relief in a sense. But your name being attached as a Hall of Famer now, that's going to be forever synonymous with
Yeah.
what I did playing football. You know what I mean? So it's an incredible feeling, and you never get tired of it. So I'll put it to you that way.
Do you feel like your crew, the guys that won the 3 championships early 2000s, are starting to get their due? We assume Richard Seymour will get in. Obviously, Brady is who he is. But do you think you guys are starting to get your due more in terms of personal achievement?
I think so. I mean, the door is now open. It always take the first person to get in, and maybe other people can recognize that. Of course, I couldn't do it by myself. I had a lot of other great teammates that are just as deserving and worthy of such an honor. So, and when you look back at other teams in the past, whether it's the 70s Steelers, the Cowboys, the 49ers, they have multiple people in there that were the so-called dynasty. But there is no dynasty or run like we've had here in New England. So if it's like that there, it should be like that here. And I think, by me getting in now, Richard Seymour coming up, of course, we all know Brady he's not going to have to wait at all, but it's, a Rodney Harrison, even a guy like an Asante Samuel, you know what I mean? It's like we have guys that can play and is worthy of going to the Hall of Fame. So hopefully I can be that advocate for those guys, and I'm looking forward to stating that case as much as I can, as much as they allow me to.
Now, when you were playing in your early days, you guys had training camp at Bryant College. You were doing 2-a-days. Training camp this year is going to be a lot different. Slow ramp up, waiting for the pads and the helmet. Based on where the NFL is right now with COVID, how would you approach it as a player, and what do you think is going to happen with NFL teams? No preseason games.
You know what? I would be monitoring, a lot, because I have kids. So, and as a lot of the players. So what is going on with the CDC? What are they saying? I mean, I don't know all the rules right now. I'm kind of just when I catch it on the news because that's not my life anymore. But I would be very concerned because it's not like it's tennis or track. You have to touch, you have to hit in football. There's sweat, flinging everywhere. You know what I mean? When you go in, they're talking about the symptoms. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but I would be very concerned of, okay, well, there's a lot of people that are asymptomatic that don't have a temperature. Yeah, you can check the temperature coming in. Even when you take the test, they put the thing on your forehead. I don't have a temperature. But does that mean that I don't have COVID? Right. So just this whole pandemic is very scary. They're trying it out in the bubble in Orlando with basketball, but you see guys are still coming up positive. Football, it's a lot more people in the building. It's a lot more, human contact, play in and play out. It's a lot, it's just so much more. So it's going to be interesting to see. But as a player, I would be very concerned, but I would also, try to be a good teammate, a team player. And if it was collectively, if they were doing all the right things to keep us safe, I think we need sports. The fans need it. But if we're going to put our families and our lives in danger, it's more important things than sports. You know what I mean? So it all depends on where we're at the time before I go to training camp, and to make the decision what I would do.
For the first time since 1999, the Patriots go to a training camp without Tom Brady. Were you surprised that he signed with Tampa?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I mean, did I want to see Tom Brady leave? No, but this is the NFL, and I've played long enough to where I know if you play long enough, no matter who you are, you're going to probably play with another team. There's very few of us that get to stay with one team throughout their career. And, I always say you take some of the greatest players, even though Tom Brady is by far the GOAT. no one can touch Tom Brady. But when you're talking about great players of the Jerry Rices of the world, the Emmitt Smith, who Tom considered the GOAT, Joe Montana. You look at all the great players, all the Hall of Famers, they have a few different teams that they play for. It's just the nature of the business. Tom was one of the few that probably didn't have to, but he still wanted to play. He had his own reasons. He gave 20 years, so he doesn't owe anybody anything. He doesn't owe anybody any apologies, and he felt that he made the best decision for himself. But I'm not surprised because it's the business of the NFL. No matter what, Tom had more say-so than the rest of us. See, I didn't have a say-so. I got cut 3 times. I got fired 3 times. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. But for Tom, he got to do it on his terms, but he earned that, and he decided to go elsewhere, whether it's to prove something to himself or prove to everybody else that he can play at a high level no matter what it is. And sometimes as a competitor, you need that. You know what I mean? So, I say congratulations, and, he moved on because no matter what, he's still going to have a statue at some point in Foxborough. He can go down there and win every game and get a Super Bowl. He can go down there and lose every game. It's not going to make a difference. He's still Tom Brady, and he's still going to be a New England Patriot as far as everyone else is concerned.
You mentioned it, guys like you who maybe didn't leave on the best terms, Richard Seymour, Mike Vrabel, Randy Moss, everyone though eventually comes back. Right. Some like you get to put on the red jacket at the Patriots Hall of Fame. Why is it that even though those tough business decisions happen during your career, everyone's able to come back with Mr. Kraft and Coach Belichick and act like everything is all good?
I think we understand what this is, even though you can't help but sometime because it's physical, you put a lot into it, it's emotional, the game of football. But we also know at the end of the day, it's a business, first and foremost. So that's why you see a lot of guys taking initiative to control their own destiny. At some point, your time is going to come. Your skills are going to decline, or your salary cap is going to go up, whether your skills decline or not, and they have to look at it from a business standpoint and say, hey, we have to create a team. We want to pay you, but we can't. And sometimes they just feel that you're not worthy. Whatever your situation is, if you are fortunate enough to play this game as long as I have for 15 years, Tom 20, anybody, once you start getting to that double-digit numbers, that you're not going to be able to demand top salary like a Tom Brady or a select few. You're going to eventually have to adjust. When we're young, hey, we got the power. We're young. We're upcoming. You can't say anything. The negotiation is, I got the power now. Right. But you have to learn at some point that eventually it's going to change, and the team is going to either cut you, you're going to have to redo your contract, or trade it, something. You're going to have to move on if you play this game long enough, and no one is immune to that. It is a business, and I think a lot of the fans take it more personal than the players.
Cam Newton arrived at Logan Airport last night. A lot of hype for his arrival. Do you think he's the starting quarterback week 1?
I think that Cam would not have signed if he wasn't coming in thinking that he's going to be the starting quarterback, as he should. Nothing against Stidham or anybody else, but this is Cam Newton. If you're talking about coming in to a situation, and if I'm Cam, with what I've done already in this league, I've been in 9, 10 years already. He has an MVP. He went to a Super Bowl. I'm going to come in and assume that I'm gonna start. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Of course, you got a Cam Newton for the bargain basement price. You know what I mean? So I think that no matter what people try to say, no matter what objectively people look at Cam, I think in the wrong way. He's not your typical, quarterback. He has his swag. He has, the fire to compete. He has an athletic ability that even Tom Brady couldn't match. We all know that. But it comes out to wins and losses. That's what it's about. But I think Cam has something to prove. I think he's going to be the starting quarterback on day one. Like I said, I don't have any inside information at all.
Belichick's not texting you?
No, he's not texting me on anything like that. If anything that me and Belichick would text about if it is non-football related, because of the relationship now. But I just think you can't have a guy like Cam on the sideline if you're really seriously trying to compete. You go out there and take his skill set, which Coach Belichick and Josh McDaniel will do, and whatever you need to dumb down, as far as, because he's got to learn the terminology and stuff like that. But the one thing that you don't have to do is worry about athleticism. Right. We all know Tom Brady wasn't running nowhere. Cam can run. You know what I mean? So it's going to be different. I think it's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I really think he's going to be the starting quarterback, in my opinion. And like I said, with no disrespect to anybody else trying to compete, but with his pedigree.
So what's harder for a Hall of Fame quarterback like you? A guy where if you turn, he could jet off and run, or a guy like Brady that can just pick you apart? I mean, it's two different challenges, but what's tougher for you?
The guy that can keep a play going, longer. I always felt no matter how good the quarterback was, if I'm glued on my guy, I don't care about your arm. I mean, you can't get it past me. But when you can extend the play, like a Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, they extend the play. Now it's a free-for-all. Usually it's a set one or two routes going in depending on the coverage. Man, not no more. Not with these guys. So you knew Tom was going to be a 3 or 5 step drop. He was going to improvise, but so much. He can move in the pocket. But those guys getting outside of the pocket, and that's a totally different ball game for a defender, because now you tend to be peeking, and guess what? He's either going to run it, and you got to run up, and you got this much space between an athletic guy like Cam Newton or some of these other quarterbacks. You got to worry about making a tackle. You run up on Tom, you're going to get a slide. For that end of the day. Cam might dip.
Time he juked Urlacher.
Exactly, and that was a highlight for him. He's going to keep, but 9 times out of 10, you got to come up really ready to form tackle guys like Cam Newton. So that poses a problem. And then you want to put a linebacker on him. He's a better athlete than most linebackers.
You've been in the room with Coach Belichick as everyone's scrambling around the NFL. No OTAs, no mini camps, no padded practices. Do you think the Patriots have an advantage because Belichick is so smart?
You always have an advantage with Belichick. He seems like he's always a step or two ahead. You know what I mean? But he puts in the time, and people don't understand how much he prepares. He knows his talent. He knows his locker room. He knows his guys. So, I would say it's always a tactical advantage when you got Bill Belichick.
Yeah. A couple more questions. I want to ask you about a guy who played your position, Stephon Gilmore. He wears the 24 like you and Darrelle Revis. Defensive Player of the Year, unbelievable accomplishment. Between you and Asante and Revis, and maybe you throw Butler in there and now Gilmore, why has the cornerback position been so important to the Pats' success, and what do you admire about Gilmore's play?
Any team that has a cornerback, period, whether it's the Patriots or anybody else that can lock down one side of the field, that's a huge asset. And especially with the receivers nowadays being as big and as strong and as physical, fast as they are, they know where they're going. We don't. So when you have someone like us, it's very valuable, and you can work your defense around that. A lot of times like that, a certain type of talent, defenses usually work around the linebacker or the guy that's going to sack the quarterback. But you get a talent like Stephon Gilmore, you can create the defense around him, or saying, you know what, you take him, I'm going to leave you alone. That is huge, to be able to go one-on-one and lock it down. And everybody, a lot of corners say they can do it, or they think they can do it, but they can't do it. You can't say, it's a select few guys that you can really say, hey, you go ahead and take him out. Right. And then for a cornerback to be willing to accept the challenge week in and week out, that's a tough gig. You know what I mean? Because those guys over there get paid too. So I love Stephon Gilmore's humility.
He's a little
work
quiet.
ethic. He's a little quieter than me. He
than
don't talk as much trash. He don't talk as much trash. But I think, on the field,
Yeah.
he carries that swagger that he knows he's good because he's put in the work.
Yeah.
He's put in the time. And Stephon is always seeking advice or information. And that's one thing, being a top guy, it's nothing for Stephon to call you. What do you think about
He's
this?
reached
What
out
about
to
it?
you.
Oh, we communicate constantly, all the time. You know what I mean? And if I can see something, that's what we used to do. What I used to do with Deion Sanders and Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson. We got this own little secret fraternity that a lot of people don't understand. Hey, what is he going to do on here? Even though, as long as it's not talking about your teammate, like as far as we got to play against each other.
Right.
But DBs, we stick together. You know what I mean? And being that, I was here for so long, and he came from the other guys, Buffalo, and now he's a Patriot, and just to help him get acclimated, knowing what it was expected of him, and I think he's far exceeded what anybody thought that he would do, and now he's working on just being a Hall of Famer himself. By the time he retires, because he's on that type of trajectory, and I want to help him get there. I want to be there, standing in my gold jacket, waiting for him to come in, because I think that he has the potential to do so.
One more on your career. Bigger play, Super Bowl 36, intercepting Kurt Warner, or the time you intercepted Manning 3 times? What was a bigger game for you?
People ask that, and that's a tough one. I take it game by game, but the one that everyone is going to remember, of course, is the Super Bowl.
Right.
That was the play. Running down. I mean, I get chills just thinking about it. But at the end of the day, it was an easy play. Mike Vrabel helped me out, and I was at the right place at the right time. Those are the type of balls that you usually is coming so easy. Like you
were gone because you raised the hand.
I mean, I'm raising. I know I ain't gonna get called. The one person closest to me was my teammate Richard Seymour. You know what I mean? So, and I know he can't outrun me. You know what I mean? But getting to the Super Bowl and that championship against Peyton Manning, I can't discredit that either, because now you're talking about, well, hell, all of them are Hall of Famers. Now Isaac Bruce,
right.
Kurt Warner, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison. But getting to the Super Bowl, that was a great game too. So I put them both right there, you know what I mean?
I would say as a Pats fan watching it at the time, that was the first time as a fan it became real that, wow, the Pats could win.
Right.
Because until that moment, you guys were double-digit underdogs.
Right.
Even the biggest Patriot fan would tell you this is going to be a tough matchup. And at that moment, it was like, wow.
Yeah, the greatest show on turf. So, I mean, but I'm talking about how I felt personally, to be able to do that. So I know the job is not done, but I guess you can say, that pick 6 in the Super Bowl was always going to stand out for me. And I even, I get giddily over it, myself. But that 3 interception game, for me, it was like I was in the zone that game,
Done some good stuff post-career. Tell us about your newest venture here with V1.
Oh, okay. Well, let me pull the bottle out. So we got to show out a little bit. And this is V1 Vodka. And I've partnered up with a good friend, Paul Koza. And this was one of those things that he was just making me some Hall of Fame through a mutual friend of ours. We've never met before, and he just made me some as a congratulations for the Hall of Fame. And as he was bringing it to me and I wanted to meet him, we took some and I tasted. I've never tasted, vodka this good, this pure, and I was like, wow. So that's how it all started. He came, it was supposed to be a 15-minute meet and greet, give me 24 custom bottles, for the Hall of Fame with all my stats on it, to 7-8 hours together, hanging out. Wow. And, he's telling me his story about how he started from $6,000 of his grandfather left him after he passed away. So just to hear the passion, in his story, in his journey, and 15 years.
Wow.
And we talk about me being in the Hall of Fame. V1 is a Hall of Fame vodka because now we are the official vodka for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I think after I sent them some and they tasted the excellence in the bottle, and that's what it stands for, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You have to be the best of the best. Yeah. This is the best of the best, and he has the hardware to prove it. Like I have the Super Bowl rings. V1 is double gold first place in the International Spirits Competition.
Okay.
And it's just that no one ever heard about it until now. So I decided to partner with Paul, be a part of that company to help tell his story and bring it to the masses, because it's by far the best vodka that I ever tasted. You know what I mean?
So now you're the ambassador, so all your famous
No,
football
I'm an
friends-
ambassador, but I'm a partner. I say
Partner,
this
okay.
is not a
You got-
spokesperson
you-
type
you-
thing.
you
No,
got
this,
your money
no,
involved in
this is I'm deep in the game, man. You know what I mean? So this is what it is. But if you taste it, and I've
Yeah.
had 30 taste tests, I swear, Yianni, 30 taste tests, and I want to stop because I know somebody's palate will be different at some point, but I had all the top brands. I'm talking about the Tito's,
Yep.
the Grey Gooses, the Cirocs, the Reigns, the Belvederes, and I put it all there, glass of water, rinse, 30 for 30.
Wow.
They picked V1. So I said I knew I had something.
So post-career, you can just sit back and relax. I know you got some kids playing football and
Right.
such, but you're still chasing.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And it's about being something that is excellent, you know, the journey, you know, to success. And that's what it's all about. You know, our journey for mine as far as football and his passion for vodka, and we met here where we at. And like I said, you know, being the official vodka to represent the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the best of the best, that's what we represent here in vodka. And we're made of 100% organic spelt. And, you know, let me tell you about just vodka in general. You know, one of the most popular vodkas are made of corn.
Mm-hmm.
What is corn? Ethanol. You want to put that in your body, which the same thing you put in your car. You know what I mean? That's that basically what it is. Or people say it's made of grains. What kind of grain? Be specific. So this is just better ingredients. It's a higher quality, and most people don't use spelt because it costs 3 times more than your average ingredient. But you can't go wrong when you're using the best, and that's why it's so different. And we're the only one in the world that uses 100% spelt, the ancient grain.
I'm gonna have to check it out this weekend.
That's right,
when
but
I'm
you
off
know
the
what?
clock.
This is yours right here. I signed it.
All
You
right.
know. Hey, Joel.
I got the Tyler autograph.
Yeah, and hold on. This
Hall
is
of
my
Fame
personal favorite. This is the cucumber. You put this with lemonade.
Ooh.
Man, put this with lemonade, cucumber, lemonade, and a splash of seltzer.
All right.
The drink of the summer,
I'll
man.
call
So
that
this
the
is
Tyler drink.
no, it's called the Pick Six. That's the
Oh,
official
the
drink.
Pick
It's called the
Six.
Pick Six. So that's yours right there as well, too, man. Great summer drink.
We love having you in Rhode Island. How long you lived here now?
I've been here since about 10 years now.
All right.
10, 12 years. I was in Massachusetts when I was playing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little closer to the stadium.
A little bit closer, but yeah, we love having you in. All right, Tyler.
I'm a New England guy.
You are, through and through. Thanks so much.
Appreciate
Continued
it.
success with V1 and everything going on post-career and that
Thank you.
Hall of Fame career. We love to look back on.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you.